Wow! Major protests happening all over the world, and very oddly, the same media that absolutely loved to talk about protests non-stop 24/7 last year is very oddly not talking about the global protests happening right now. Gee, I wonder why. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski here of wearechange.org, and we got a lot of crazy information to get into, especially surrounding Dr. Fauci, that was just exposed by an organization that he was spearheading before that just called him out, as well as new, shocking revelations about what he did to innocent puppies. Literally, you can't make this story up with how sinister it is, with, of course, his stamp of approval. But before getting into all of that, plus a lot more, on a personal note, we just finished a couple of hours ago our first in-life Timcast IRL event, and it was freaking incredible, with, of course, Danny Polish, Chuck, Ryan Long absolutely killing it on the stage. We did a long Q&A with Barnes, Viva Frey, Seamus, Joey B. Tunes, Lydia, Ian, Tim Pool, and, of course, myself. We had a lot of fun. It was absolutely incredible meeting the people that came out there for this members-exclusive only event, and I truly believe that this is going to be the future of events, and that's why if you're signed up on lukeuncensored.com, just know that future events will, of course, only be available just for members alone. And I really do believe doing these events this way, with members only being available to come, is the best way to do it. So if you're signed up already to lukeuncensored.com, definitely stay tuned for more future exciting announcements just on that platform alone. Now, I definitely think we're in somewhat of a very strange position when even Jack Dorsey, the head of Twitter, is talking and warning people about hyperinflation here in the United States, saying specifically, quote, hyperinflation is going to change everything. It's happening. It will happen in the U.S. soon, and so the world. Now, why is hyperinflation becoming more and more of a reality? Well, that's because of failed Big Brother centralized bureaucratic government policies that usually do the opposite of what they pretend to do. As of course, we have reckless money printing for equity efforts, horrific scientific gain-of-function studies, the creation of some of the worst weapons thought to man, and of course, a huge sum of corporate welfare that many in the ruling establishment use to siphon off the wealth from this country as if it was a sinking ship going down with its crew. Now, I think it's only fair to say that this problem was only made worse by this current president that has absolutely exacerbated the supply chain crisis in this country through, of course, his mandates. It's also important to notice the impact of the lockdowns that were implemented last year, along with government unemployment benefits that made it worthwhile for people not to work, at the same time as, of course, the government just printed money out of thin air in record numbers. And now, with the economic consequences being absolutely unavoidable right in front of our face, what does the Biden administration do? Well, they implement a policy where many workers have to jump through government hoops in order to even be able to work with their mandate passport system that is forcing a huge labor force in the United States to literally not be able to work. But according to some, like Hillary Clinton, the government isn't going far enough, including in the United Kingdom, where already the levels of compliance are at its highest comparatively to the world. But Hillary Clinton is demanding more mandates, more restrictions, more controls on the people living in the United Kingdom, as she recently demanded that people who don't jump through the government hoops when they're asked to do so should also be fired from their jobs, like some people are being fired in the United States. Other institutions in the United States are even taking it further, as Johns Hopkins University has just announced that they're implementing a mandate for everyone to take the flu shot, demanding that students, facility, and staff now take an additional procedure against the flu, since why not? Let's just add, more hoops, more medical issues that you have to be mandated for, because if you're going to start with one sickness, why not another one? And that's exactly what's happening here, with, of course, still many people being confused, as the Washington Post even admittedly wrote a piece saying that if you do take a procedure for a particular sickness, that you'll be never fully ready for that sickness. Literally, the Washington Post, I can't read the headline here. This, as the CDC has just announced the importance of third shots, third procedures on individuals who have already complied with the first two, saying that in the future, this third shot could be mandated to be compliant with, of course, government's domestic passport systems. And as these passport systems, just like the mandates, just like the lockdowns, just like the restrictions, have wreaked havoc on this economy, on our prosperity, on our mental, psychological, and physical well-beings, what's the result of all of this? Well, something very eerily called for by many global elites, which is only described as a, quote, Great Reset, a term coined by the World Economic Forum, used by many billionaires and politicians all throughout the world. This, as one of these people, Bill Gates, just announced that more than 50% of business travel will disappear in the not-so-distant future, as he is predicting something that, of course, many global elites have been demanding, and that, of course, is stopping the plebs from being able to travel the world. All, of course, to, quote, help the environment. And as Bill Gates is making predictions about how your life will be restricted, controlled, and you'll have the lack of access and the less ability to be able to travel the world, he, of course, just took his super luxury yacht that costs over $200 million to the southwest shores of Turkey. And as he lives his life in decadence, talking about how your life will be restricted soon, all, of course, as he also builds and develops microchips that will be able to control people's fertility at the click of a button. But don't worry, this man that routinely lies about his very close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein has, of course, your best interest at heart. As, of course, developing the latest surveillance technology that it will track, trace, and database and control almost every aspect of your human existence at the touch of a button by some centralized billionaire, banker, or globalist, or corporatist, is, of course, always for your personal best interest. As, of course, there's even new patents proposal for a digital surveillance domestic passport system that, of course, will be based off your social credit score. Why are such patents and technologies being developed? Why is Bill Gates funneling billions of dollars into Orwellian technology? Well, that's a question that I usually answer on LukeUncensored.com. But while I'm not doing that, I'm also making t-shirts like the one that I'm wearing right now in this video. And, of course, this latest one that we just dropped a few hours ago that is called the Freedom Super Spreader, with some really cool font developed by some of our graphic artists. And if you're interested in purchasing some of these t-shirts, which we had to start up since, of course, we got fully demonetized by YouTube and now we're predominantly a t-shirt company, you can on thebestpoliticalshirts.com, where you are bound to find some absolute humor and comedic gold with satirical and over-the-top t-shirts, some of them that we can't even show you here on this platform. All, of course, on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, what are you waiting for? Click the link down in the description right now. Now, as you know, if you've been watching this channel, we're definitely not the biggest cheerleaders and fans or sicko fans like in the mainstream media of course, Dr. Fauci. We like to view individuals in a critical matter, especially when they have power and authority over others. They should be met with, of course, transparency and accountability. Dr. Fauci has been met with absolute glorious praise, with the mainstream media acting like his own personal fluffer, as, of course, he routinely chooses to do interviews with people that never challenge him, never question him, or never even dare to call him out on many of the ridiculous flip-flops and duplicitous statements that he has contradicted himself on so many times. Too many times to mention. Masks, mandates, effectiveness. There's so many things he said that have absolutely turned out to be not true at all, and there have even been compilations made of him contradicting himself, which he does routinely. And now there's a major bombshell story by Vanity Fair, which we have to be honest here is absolutely surprising to see from them, that talks about how the NIH, the National Institute of Health, just released information and a statement that directly links Dr. Fauci to conducting very dangerous gain-of-function research on chimeric bat-related sicknesses that were specifically created to hurt and infect human beings. Now, why is this significant? Why is this important? Well, that's because Dr. Fauci was denying that this was happening extensively when he was on record, when he was providing sworn testimony to the U.S. representatives of this government. He said that there's no way that he personally called off on this funding. There's no way that this was gain-of-function research. There's no way that he did any of these things. And now, of course, the same organization which he previously ran just decided to call him out in an extraordinary expose that directly points the finger at Dr. Fauci here. Starting the article with Dr. Fauci saying, quote, "I totally resent the lie you are now propagating," a statement that he issued when, of course, he was cornered and questioned about this very specific issue, which now we know he was lying through his teeth about. As, of course, this man that loves his voice even said that people who criticize him are criticizing science when it came to this specific issue. They said the people who don't believe him are just conspiracy theorists that don't like the science. And now we're finding out that it wasn't science that Dr. Fauci was espousing. It was lies and huge conflicts of interest that directly pinpoint him to personally approving very dangerous research at this level 3 Wuhan laboratory, which many key U.S. diplomatic cables even warned about the possibility of sicknesses coming out of because of their lax safety and control protocols. This is the same laboratory that Dr. Fauci made sure was doing dangerous work with the same category of sickness that is going around the world right now. And the people who have raised concerns about this, again, correlation does not prove causation, but there is a very big correlation here that deserves to be fully investigated, fully looked into, and absolutely questioned outright. But it's also important to note here that the people who questioned this from the very beginning, institutions like the Zero Hedge, were censored from the internet for even raising concerns about this. And now we have come full circle to the larger realization that, yes, Dr. Fauci had his fingerprints on this, and he was lying about it from the very beginning. And it's interesting to see this from the Vanity Fair, an organization that also previously did the bidding of Dr. Fauci and sang his praises and didn't really question it before, as they previously ran an article that was entitled, "Anthony Fauci once again forced to basically call Rand Paul a sniveling moron." That was their article. Very biased, very convoluted, very emotionally based. Meant more, of course, to send a statement than actually inform people about what's happening. But this is the same author that now in Vanity Fair exposed Dr. Fauci for lying and proved Rand Paul absolutely right about this matter from the very beginning. And Rand Paul was right. And he was vilified for it by many mainstream media outlets that attacked him viciously for daring to question Dr. Fauci on what we know right now is absolutely, genuinely one of the biggest stories out there and deserves a lot more attention than it's getting right now. Now, of course, the same mainstream media that loves Dr. Fauci is reluctant to talk about this in some instances, but there are some mainstream media organizations actually talking about this. But it's also important to note that Dr. Fauci is still on air, like on ABC, and he doesn't get any pushback on this larger issue. He doesn't get questioned. He's on national television talking about how people aged 5 to 11 should get a medical procedure for a sickness that statistically the story speaks for itself when it comes to the risk of those specific children. Another major bombshell that just came out is that Dr. Fauci, as NIH director, also gave hundreds of thousands of dollars of your tax-paying, hard-earned money to a lab in Tunisia that essentially tortured dogs in inhumane ways, specifically beagle puppies that had their vocal cords removed and their heads locked in a mesh cage while hungry sand flies fed on them, eating them alive. I mean, holy freaking cow. The level of cruelty, of inhumanity here that has happened to these poor, innocent animals that Dr. Fauci called off on, signed for himself for this experimentation to be done. And what was the larger scientific purpose of this happening? Well, so far I haven't been able to see an explanation. Why is the United States sending hundreds of thousands of dollars to foreign countries to torture animals? What in the world else are they doing that we still don't even know about? And these are the same people praised by the mainstream media telling you how you need to give up all of your personal freedoms, all of your personal liberties, all of the things that governments have always tried to take away from their citizenry, take away their decisions of what they want to do with their bodies, all in the name because this man has, quote, your best interest at heart. And if you believe that, you've been psychologically brainwashed with trauma-based mind control. Right now, there's a bipartisan legislator of government officials demanding answers from Fauci on why he did this. I hope we get some. This is a big issue. It should be a national issue. Dr. Fauci should be held accountable for his transgressions here. Arrest Fauci was trending on Twitter temporarily, but there's a big agenda to silence any criticism of him, not just on the mainstream media, but also on, of course, big tech social media. So sharing, getting the story out to your friends, family members, messaging them, emailing them. This URL is absolutely critically important if you found this video important. If you disliked this video, click the dislike button. Let me know what I could do better next time. If you liked it, click the like button. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. This is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for a lot more here on WeAreChange.org.